All right, Bitcoin got to move down to a pretty significant spot. We hit the value area low, and I think now's a good time to do some top-down analysis. Let's check out market cipher, let's check out price action, and let's try to get an understanding of what is going on here with the price. So first, just to quickly recap, what we have done recently is we've actually broken down out of this smaller range that we're trading in within the larger range. Once we broke the smaller range, it was a pretty quick move down to value area low, and so far we have actually gotten a pretty nice bounce from value area low, but the follow through is not looking so hot. We got a little bounce, and right now we are wicking back down on the daily time frame. This is a pretty large selling wick to have right after bouncing from support. That's not a great sign. And I do think it's possible that we continue lower. And I was looking at the value area low as one area of support, but I was also keeping in mind that this is in the middle of a fair value gap. So I wasn't exactly trusting the value area low that much. I don't think it's that juicy of a level, unless we kind of wick down, fill that fair value gap, get a move back up, maybe just leave a wick down below value area low, like maybe we SFP this local low that we got right here. Fill the fair value gap and then reclaim value area low. I think that is a potential bullish setup from this area, but I'm not really loving it how it stands right now because we haven't filled this fair value gap over here. And so just considering price action, I think it is possible that we see a move lower from here to fill that fair value gap, maybe even get a move down to golden pocket, and then we'll see if that can hold. If not, we may start rotating lower in this range, maybe working our way down to the larger range low. So now let's do a top-down market cipher analysis. Not too much to talk about here on the weekly. It looks very similar. We still have momentum overall moving to the downside. We got this red dot. Momentum has continued to move to the downside from that red dot. We can even start to see money flow curving over a little bit here, but really not too much to talk about there. So let's go down to the daily, and here we can see that momentum is pretty low below the zero line, potentially looking to print an anchor wave here. We see the momentum wave starting to clip off. We see the VWAP getting very close to crossing the zero line. It's actually right there, so we'll probably see a green dot at least flash here soon, unless we start dumping right now, and then there's a chance this momentum continues lower, but as of right now it looks like it is trying to bottom out. But we are seeing daily money flow take a local turn to the downside. It is locally putting in lower lows compared to this wave. And, another way you can look at this is we actually had a bearish breakout of this money flow triangle. So money flow was pinching. We were putting in lower highs and higher lows. And we just had a breakdown bearishly of that triangle pattern. And that breakdown bearishly also aligns with the larger trend of lower highs and lower lows. Could we potentially have put in a lower high right here, and may we now go on to put in lower lows? That would align with the overall trend right now. But then again, despite the clear trend in money flow on the daily time frame, Bitcoin is not in a clear downtrend. It is actually ranging. So, take the money flow trend with a grain of salt. Sure, this trend really started back here of decreasing highs with money flow, and we actually diverged as we put in all-time high. But the follow through, at least in terms of price action, hasn't really shown that much bearishness as of yet. We're just simply ranging. But I do think it is pretty likely that if we see this money flow continue to trend to the downside, start taking out lows like this, and maybe even put in a lower low overall, then that gives us a pretty good shot at rotating further to the downside in the range, potentially coming down to this low. And looking at market cipher B on the daily, locally, how money flow is moving to the downside, and how we see the selling wick. Price is right now getting a move back down towards the low after a little attempt at a bullish bounce from value area low. I think right now this daily is pointing more towards us putting in a local lower low and filling this fair value gap. But that is just considering the daily. Maybe there's a bit more bullish hope as we zoom into the lower time frames. We'll have to see. Now going down to the 4 hour, what we see here is we did actually form some bullish divs with money flow and momentum. It was the coveted double divs, double Ds if you dare call them that. But yeah, as we got a bounce from value area low, we see momentum clearly put in a higher low, and money flow ever so slightly was increasing, putting in higher lows, and I believe this low right here aligns with the bottom. Let me put a vertical line there. It does. So we did have some bottom signals on the 4-hour, some divergences. The only issue with it is the follow through so far is a little iffy. You know, we got a nice bounce, but you know, so far we got a pretty sharp rejection, and we have been unable to change market structure. You know, right now this bullish reaction may just be to put in a lower high because we, you know, haven't gotten a move above a significant point yet. And we are seeing that locally. The VWAP is crossing down. We have a red dot momentum. You can see that little white pointy thing inside of the yellow wave. That is the momentum wave. It just barely got above the 0 line and then fell back down. We got a red dot here. Now momentum is back down below the 0 line. Money flow locally is, you know, appearing to be struggling. Yeah, we did get divergences, but the follow through following this point was pretty crap. It pretty much just went sideways, even put in a lower low. Now it's turning over again locally. So I would say this isn't looking like a very strong divergence, just given the follow through. Now, sure, that can change. We may, you know, just be kind of rotating here before attempting to change market structure, before we actually see money flow attempt to turn to the upside. It has been in the red for a while, so there is a chance that we do eventually see that follow through. It may just be delayed. But, you know, I can't say that right now the 4-hour is giving me a whole lot of hope in that, especially with things turning to the downside locally. And scrolling out and looking at the bigger picture with the 4-hour, we can see that money flow is in a larger downtrend. So we had this high that was put in pretty much as the initial range point was put in. We actually diverged as we just barely took out this range high here. It was a very slight SFP. So we did see money flow put in a lower high. That was a divergence. And then it went on to put in another lower low, showing that this trend is, you know, so far strong and is maintaining itself. And we could say that, you know, if we do end up getting a little bounce here from these divergences at value area low, which we very well may, it is a significant support. We do see confirmations. It may just be to put in an overall lower high. Maybe we get a move up towards like POC or something. And maybe we see money flow just barely get above the 0 line and print another lower high before continuing the overall trend. You could look at it that way. And the 3-hour, I'd say, looks virtually identical to the 4-hour. We see the overall downtrend with money flow. We see the divergences as we put in our low. We see, you know, what appears to be pretty poor follow through so far with money flow pretty much going flat. Right now, momentum's clipping over again. So this looks a lot like the 4-hour. So let's go down to the 2-hour. And here things do look a little different. You know, you can see that overall trend still of lower highs and lower lows. But money flow does objectively look better on this 2-hour, just given the direction. It's kind of weird looking, right? We don't have the classic curvature. It's kind of like, you know, little sharper move here and then just like a trend line of upwards direction. You know, I think we did get divergences here as well, and we did. We pretty much started forming divs from back here. This is where the anchor wave printed for money flow and momentum. Since then, money flow and momentum was diverging, so there is definitely clear divergences here on this 2-hour. But again, we see that things are flopping over at the moment with VWAP crossing down. We got a red dot on this momentum wave. And it looks like money flow is now also crossing back into the red after getting a very slight move into the green here. And, you know, since I mentioned this on the, the daily time frame with the triangle pattern, you could say that we got a little bit of pinching here as well with lower highs and higher lows being put in. So honestly, I'd watch to see which way this breaks. If, you know, money flow starts losing these lows, that's not really a good look, but if we can, you know, see money flow get a move into the green and start taking out lower highs like this, that is, you know, a bit more reassuring for an actual bounce here. And finally, looking at the 1-hour. So again, we did have some divergences. They were not looking as good on the 1-hour actually, though, because money flow is not diverging. Money flow is putting in lower lows as we printed that momentum div, as we got a move down towards value area low. So there was no money flow div here. But the current state of this money flow does look better on the 1-hour, honestly. Even though we didn't see divergences, I think the curvature looks better. You know, we saw money flow get a significant move to the downside. I would call this an anchor wave. You know, we took out previous lower lows, and we got a pretty quick turnaround here, a pretty quick reversal back up towards the green. Now, granted, it is struggling right now. We got a red dot. Money flow is kind of hooking back over towards the downside right now. but I have to say this overall curvature looks good. If I was going to give it anything, a lot of times when you're going to see, a situation like this where money flow puts in a significant low, maybe it bottoms out as price does, but then money flow doesn't really rebound like it did. Rather, it just kind of goes flat. A lot of times that's when you'll see price get like relentless moves to the downside, where it just maybe gets little bounces, continues lower, little bounces, continues lower, and money flow just kind of stays at the low end the entire time. When that's not what we saw here. We saw money flow get a pretty solid reversal here. So I think that is something that points to the bull side. The fact that money flow didn't really hang around these lows. It kind of put in a significant low and then turned to the upside. But I would have to see good follow through from it. Right now we are seeing VWAP try to curve back to the upside, and we can look at some lower time frames to see if maybe they're bottoming out with momentum. We do see a green dot on the 30-minute. So there is potential that we could still see follow through from this. Maybe money flow goes on to put in higher highs and momentum gets another push to the upside. That would be what I want to see for me to think that, okay, maybe we do actually get some kind of a significant bounce from this value area low. And again, even if that happens, like I was talking about on the 4-hour, I believe, it may just be to get another retracement to the upside before continuing lower. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe this is a significant bottom and I'm just being too bearish here. That could also be the case. But, I think given the state of the daily time frame right now, which is really, the highest time frame where I'm seeing anything significant happen, like I'm not really seeing much on the weekly other than a lower high being put in, which has been happening for a long time here. The fact that the daily money flow, though, is putting in local lower lows, and the fact that we still have reason to come to the downside makes me think that we probably will continue to the downside. Now, maybe we put in a significant low pretty soon. Maybe we just end up like continuing to SFP lower and lower until we hit the golden pocket and then we start reversing. And I definitely will be watching for divergences if we continue moving lower. I will be looking for signs that maybe a bottom is approaching. And if I don't see any signs of that, then maybe we just go lower. And I think that is about it. Other than that, we just gotta wait and see what happens. So thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment. I appreciate all the support, and I will see you all in the next video.